Today I messed up by looking for an adult shop. A little context: I'm a 27-year-old woman and my boyfriend is 26. I'm currently going to school and taking an education to become a nurse in one of Denmark's big cities, about an hour from where we live. Today is my boyfriend and I's anniversary, yes. And we're going out for a dinner and then some coitus when we come home, and coitus requires protection. I figured I'd stop by an adult toy store and look for some protection and maybe something fun to go along with it. I look up adult toy shop near me and I first find an online shop. I am in no way patient enough to wait for shipping. The next thing is for dolls, not what I wanted, and the third seems legit enough and I decide to go there. It's only a 15-minute walk from where I was, and I decide to go. I start walking away from the inner city and I'm wondering if the shop moved as I had been in it before, but just couldn't remember where it was located. I walk up to what seems like a normal home and I wonder if Maps has failed me, but decide to see anyway, and there's a sign on the door, saying to just enter. I enter into what seems like a waiting room with a sign on the wall that say to take place and that someone will be with me shortly. Before I get to put the clues together, a woman is in the door frame. She's only wearing lingerie and stockings. This poor woman looks as confused as I feel and I manage to stutter out, I think I'm at the wrong place. This woman looks me up and down. There I was in a sweater and a school bag and a puzzled expression, and then replies, "I think you're right, sweetie." I get kind of flustered and explain what I was looking for, and she explained that the shop used to be nearby but moved further into the city. But she couldn't remember where it was, so I thanked her, apologized for wasting her time, and left again. I found what I was looking for about 20 minutes later after my boyfriend found the shop on Google, so we get freaky tonight. Too long. Didn't read. Needed condoms, went for sex shop, ended up at an escort's place. Today I messed up by getting traumatic brain injury on first Tinder date. This happened just 3 weeks ago. A few months ago I, 23-year-old female, moved to a new city. It was a busy time and I just got out of a relationship. As I got bored in quarantine, I decided to download Tinder. Well, boy did I know what I was getting myself into. After like 2 days I organized a date for when I was out of quarantine. He seemed like a sweet guy. With just having the normal amount of insecurity and clumsiness most people have during a first date. We cooked really nice dinner together and everything seemed pretty easygoing. We talked about our lives and interests and made nice jokes. As we started cleaning up with just one long stare, the entire atmosphere changed. Kissing went to undressing in under a minute, and with the most intense sexual tension we moved from the kitchen to his bedroom. After maybe few minutes of moving around his room, he started walking me to his bed. Then he pushed me, with some considerable amount of force, on his bed. The situation was pretty wild, and in that moment didn't think about breaking my fall, as I thought that I would just land on the bed. However, I did not consider that he had a single bed. Instead of landing on the bed, the back of my head had a full-speed collision with the concrete wall. He started apologizing, asking as I was okay. In the heat of the moment, it seemed like nothing, as I didn't hurt as much. So we just continued and enjoyed ourselves pretty well, I would say. Fast forward to the next day. I noticed all that I had a bad headache, but I figured it was from being a bit tired or something similar. But at the end of the day I wasn't able to concentrate. I felt dizziness and had the worst headache I'd ever had. Not thinking too much of it, took some painkillers and continued as nothing happened. The day after it got even worse. I was at my parents' place and they noticed in how much pain I was. They started asking questions about what could have caused this. I casually just said, well, I did hit my head like 2 days ago, but that couldn't have been it, right? It didn't get much better, so I decided to call my doctor. Her diagnosis was very clear: a traumatic brain injury/concussion. Avoid everything that is visually stimulating or has a lot of sounds. So now I've been at home for almost 3 weeks, not even being able to do groceries, study or cook for myself. So yeah, my first Tinder date ever has had a serious impact on my life. Haha, not going on new Tinder date anytime soon, as I can't have sex now anyway. Oh, and with Christmas my entire family will be asking what happened. Well, I'm still trying to get away with you, just hit my head, but I feel that will not be enough for them. Too long. Didn't read. I went on my first Tinder date ever and during wild sex I hit my head against a concrete wall. Have been home with a traumatic brain injury and concussion for almost 3 weeks. And having to lie to my family about what happened. Today I messed up by drinking my boyfriend's expensive aged scotch. So I, 23-year-old female, had a hard day at work. I got off work before my boyfriend, 26-year-old male, came home and wanted a drink. Rifled through our liquor cabinet and found some scotch. Didn't think much of it, and in the 4 to 5 hours before my boyfriend came home, I had 3 glasses. Boyfriend comes home. Sees the bottle of scotch on the counter. Loses it. He won't tell me how much the scotch was but says it was over $500. And I drank 3 glasses. He apparently had been saving that for a special occasion. He hadn't told me, or mentioned it. It wasn't in a box, it was just sitting on the shelf with the rest of our liquor. Apparently the scotch was aged 20 plus years and I mixed it with Coke. He's beyond furious and devastated. I've promised to get him a new bottle, but I'm definitely going to have to save up for it. Too long. Didn't read. I drank my boyfriend's 20 plus year aged scotch by mixing it with Coke. It was over $500. I now have to figure out how to afford to replace his bottle.